go back to a country where he's played for quite some time and he knows very well. So
we'll see. I think it could still be like functionally a very good, like a focal point up front for Juventus is important. I'm just pleased to see Aaron Ramsey might get a chance under Pirlo, and Pirlo's given him a lot more freedom than Sarri ever did. I saw on Twitter it was just loads of Juventus fans going, "Wow, was Ramsey always this good?" Juve fans, yes, he was always that good. It's just he wasn't allowed to play.
He wasn't probably playing in the right system under Sarri. So yeah, it's beautiful to see Aaron Ramsey score. And I wish I could wish him good luck, but he plays for Juventus, so I can't. To round up the section about Serie A, Ibrahimovic, he still looks like a 23-year-old. He had a brace in his first game of the season at AC Milan, but he tested positive for COVID.
The guy does have weaknesses. Who knew it? He is human.
And he actually had a very good tweet. I tested negative to COVID yesterday and positive today. No symptoms whatsoever. COVID had the courage to challenge me. Bad idea. Good luck on your recovery, Zlatan.
Yeah.
Then I would just like to mention that Osimhen at Napoli might have not scored a goal in his first appearance, but he did change the game.
That game got off to a slow start. Napoli was struggling. They're getting lots of chances, just not that final ball. He came on, he took the extra defender with him and just opened up the game. After that, Napoli were clear so quickly. I think he's going to be, again, signing of the season. I think he's going to be unbelievable, that guy.
And then we're supposed to talk about Serie A, but it's still Italy, Serie B. Berlusconi's Monza
He's back.
He have just signed Boateng. So a few years back, Berlusconi, when he purchased Monza Football Club, he said, we want a young team of Italian players without tattoos nor earrings. And they've just signed Kevin Prince Boateng. I think that's hilarious. And I do think that Monza have a strong chance of being promoted to Serie A next season.
I think it's a matter of time before they get to Serie A with the kind of financial backing they're going to get. They'll be there. It's just interesting to see how long the project's going to last, because you also get the feeling it will fall down at some point. But we're at the beginning of it. Why try and look at the end?
Exactly. And finally, this is just funny and sad at the same time. Last week, Italy's #1 sports newspaper, football newspaper, La Gazzetta dello Sport, had this front page featuring kids with the colors of their favorite Serie A club painted on their face.
At least there was some color, right?
At least there was some color, because the totality of the kids were white. But hey, Italy's a racist country? Come on, man. No, we're not.
Everybody's represented here.
Everybody's represented. All sorts of white kids. And now let's take a plane and move to England. Rory, what have you got to say?
Okay, so this week in England, we have just had the first or the third round of the League Cup, where a lot of the bigger teams come in. So the competition is providing a welcome distraction for some teams, namely West Ham, who got a 7-0 win.
Nice.
Everton got a nice 5-2 win, even though Pickford did his best to give away some stupid goals. Still England #1. Not quite sure how, but seeming as you talked about Inter, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about Arsenal for a while. We've had 2 unconvincing wins. We beat West Ham at the weekend in a game that West Ham definitely deserved to win. Sorry, Tom. And we've just beaten Leicester 2-0 in a game that started with an own goal, a comical own goal, and Eddie Nketiah from 5 yards, 2 yards out, doubling the lead. But we're not conceding goals. We're picking up wins. It's kind of similar to how Emery started. We were winning games without playing well, so I'm trying not to get carried away. But we're defending a lot better, and we look a bit more convincing. The youngsters still look great. Bukayo Saka is killing it. Keep your eye out for that guy. He is unbelievable. But anyway, Arsenal over. We are going to first focus on Chelsea. So they've had quite an unconvincing start to the season, especially they struggled against Liverpool. Kepa, again, can't keep himself out of the headlines with just gaff after gaff. Christensen not helping him with the red card, but also that was kind of Kepa's fault, putting Christensen in that position. But Lampard may have solved the problem, or started to solve the problem. They've confirmed Mendy today from Rennes. He's expected to go straight into the starting lineup at the weekend. Caballero must be fuming, because I think he was very close to the first team spot, and now this guy's been signed. But for Chelsea, I think that's a good start.
I'm very happy about this move because, I mean, I don't know if many of you know, but I used to be a goalkeeper. I had a very bad career. But I love this position. I think it's a fundamental position in football. And I literally hate to see when good teams have a bad goalkeeper. This same situation happened at Liverpool a few years back when Loris Karius from Germany was the starting goalkeeper. There was a very bad mismanagement of the whole goalkeeping situation because sometimes Mignolet was being played, then Karius, and then eventually Karius became the first string goalkeeper. But how can you be a competitive team if you are playing someone like Kepa or someone like Karius in goal? It's very good that the Chelsea management finally sat down and said, this is our priority. We want to sign a real goalkeeper. When Liverpool lost a Champions League final because of their goalkeeper, that summer they went in with, I believe, 80 million and they purchased one of the best goalkeepers in the world, Alisson from Rome, and the next year they won the Champions League.
And the thing is, the goalkeeper position is, I think it's the position that most relies on confidence. Once you have one mistake, and then maybe a second one the next game, and the third one, it's very hard to recover the career. And you can see now for Kepa, and you can see it with Karius, they're just destroyed now. Their confidence is gone. They maybe need a fresh start somewhere else, maybe a bit of time out of the spotlight. It's a position that relies on confidence more than any other, I think. So I think it's important that Chelsea now get a fresh start. But speaking of confidence, Kai Havertz is off the mark with a hat-trick against Barnsley, admittedly, but a hat-trick. You know, you see these people on Twitter so reactionary, one game, no goal, worst signing in history, he's a flop. Well, now he's got the first goal and it didn't stop. So he's got a hat-trick. I think that's encouraging for Lampard. Lampard played him in the centre as well, finally, which is where Havertz is much more effective.
And Abraham actually had a very good game. He assisted 2 of Havertz's goals, and in one he did a velo, we call it in Italian, which is basically when the ball is coming towards you, you pretend to touch it, but you just let it go.
Oh, dummy.
Yeah, dummy. Right. Thank you, Rory. I told you he's an English teacher.
Yeah. And moving on from Chelsea with that, another team who found it a kind of welcome distraction is Manchester United.
Oh, no.
So after their nightmare at home against Crystal Palace, so many questions that were already being asked are now just being asked a little bit louder about Solskjaer, about the ownership. So they won during the week, but their problems still are not being solved. The fans are getting more and more frustrated. Harry Maguire looks lost at centre-back as he's a great defender, but he has no pace. Like, the great defence at Manchester United was Vidic and Ferdinand. Ferdinand was the pace, and Vidic was the strength, the kind of the core of that defence, right? Together, they worked so well. Manchester United need that again now. They have Maguire, but they need someone fast who can, for when the break goes through, they keep getting caught on the break. But anyway, these problems aren't being solved, and more questions are being asked of Solskjaer. Personally, I think the problem is a bit of both, but I think first they need to solve the manager and then they can solve the team. I think there's managers out there who would be doing a better job with that squad than Solskjaer is doing. And I think players don't want to sign for Solskjaer. His track record is not good. He got Cardiff relegated and before he came to United, he was at Mulder and they were going to fire him. Like, I don't think when did Manchester United go for not world-class managers? They're meant to be the biggest club in the world, right? How is this guy still in a job? I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Please, Man U fans, let us know on Twitter what you think about this whole situation.
I've seen you all on Twitter. You are all on Twitter. So
Bryce, are you listening? Come on, let us know what you think about the current situation. Next up.
But United, to solve on their problems, to solve their defence, they are apparently going after Calvert-Lewin from Everton.
Oh, a great defender, right?
So that's how they think they're going to solve that issue. Calvert-Lewin got a hat-trick at the weekend and was compared by his manager Ancelotti to Inzaghi.
Pippo!
Which I think is an incredible comparison. I don't think it's a bit early days. It might not be unfair, but I think that is the highest praise from Ancelotti, I think.
I mean, he knows a thing or two about Inzaghi.
Yeah, and I think I can see what he means, maybe, that they play off the shoulder of defenders. Like, his goals at the weekend were all kind of poachers' goals, a back heel, like right place, right time, header from a corner. So I can see what he means. I just think that might be the confidence boost that Calvert-Lewin needs at the moment for a player who is in such good form and could play himself into the Euros next year for England, which I think would be... It's a long time since Everton have had a striker represent
And
England,
talking about Everton, Moise Kean scored a goal.
He scored a goal.
This is true. It has happened.
In 90th minute against Morecambe. No, not more. Oh, God. 90th minute against second division opposition, but it counts. It counts. He's off the mark. Come on, Moise. We believe in you. You can do this for the rest of the season. I want 5. 5 this season, Moise. Come on.
Actually, we're not ripping on Moise. We're actually big fans.
No,
and it's beautiful to see when he scores. Right.
So moving on from Everton, we're going to talk about the biggest story this week has been Bale's return to Tottenham. Ooh. It's finally been confirmed. They're going to have to wait a while for his debut, as obviously he's injured. But I think it will be, like I said last week, it'll be interesting to see what Bale they get, if his fitness problems are behind him, if his attitude is right. I think personally, because it's Tottenham, his attitude will be better. But I think that is a big statement for Tottenham. We talked about Skriniar maybe being linked to them. And I think, worryingly, they could be back in Mourinho and there could be a bit of a movement going there. Maybe they will finish above us this year. I'm getting worried about Arsenal's lack of movement in the transfer window. I'm really worried.
How do you see Bale playing with the Son and Kane that we saw last weekend?
Well, that's a hell of a front three, right? I think most teams would, I hate to say it, but that, Son and Kane linking up so much of the weekend, 4 assists for Kane and a goal, 4 goals for Son, right? That is a deadly partnership. So I think throw Bale into that mix, that's scary.
A commentator, when I was watching the game, he said that Son looked utterly ruthless, and that was beautiful, just like the wording of it. It was utterly ruthless, indeed. And I can just picture him playing with Kane and Bale on the other side, especially now that Dele looks like he's kind of gravitating towards the outside of...
From that All or Nothing documentary, you could see he was kind of on the fringes, and Mourinho didn't really trust him, which I think, again, is fair, because he does go missing. But we saw a really interesting aspect of Mourinho's management after that game, I think, where on TV he told Harry Kane he was man of the match and then went during Son's interview and told Son that Harry Kane was man of the match. Now, I wonder if that's a comment on their personalities and what it takes to motivate each person, or if it's just him making himself the centre of attention again. But that might be me just being cynical. I don't know. But I just thought it was quite an interesting thing to see.
Mourinho means good to everybody, man. Mourinho is a good person. Come on.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who might not corroborate that
Huge
statement.
Mourinho fan over here. Thanks again for the triplete.
So we're talking about Tottenham and Bale's arrival. Well, his wages are reported $600,000 a week, and a very historical football team in the UK this week, Macclesfield, just went out of business because they owed £500,000. Now, this is quite a lazy comparison to make. It's not Bale's fault he earns that much money. But especially with COVID now, there has to be a movement from the higher teams, from the teams in the Premier League or the teams qualifying for Europe, or the Premier League in general, to try and save the lower league teams. Because growing up watching Crewe Alexandra, and we were in Division 3, like the bottom level of professional football, we've been there for quite a while. Those clubs are always on the brink of annihilation, of bankruptcy, right? And it's so scary. And I think there's a lot of towns, we saw it with Bury last year when they went out of existence, they are the focal point of that community. They get 2,000, 3,000 a week, but everybody in that town looks forward to going. There's so many jobs that rely on it. This is vitally important. And I know that the Premier League, their track history is they don't really give a shit about anything that isn't the Premier League. So I don't trust them to do this. But I hope that if people talk about it in the media and there's a big enough movement, that maybe something can happen.
Because in the Netherlands, for example, bigger teams, they pay a sort of fee, am I correct?
Yeah.
To lower league clubs?
Well, exactly. So this year, Amsterdam have paid $3 million extra.
You mean Ajax?
Ajax even. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. Ajax have paid $3 million extra because of COVID to try and help the teams that are relegated and the lower league teams just survive through however long this period is going to be. We don't know. But I like that there's a system at least there in place, and maybe other countries will take their example.
Definitely not Italy.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
I'm not
over
holding
here.
my breath, But there is the feel-good story 2020 random story of the year.